Hey, School Zone audience, Matt coming at you here from cloudy Stephenville, Texas, in Central Texas, enjoying some cooler weather and some rain on an early September afternoon. I've got Greg Carter from Kleenhanz on with us today. And Greg, I understand the weather has been just a little bit rainy down in San Antonio here the last day or two.
Yes, as usually is the case in San Antonio, it's feast or famine. We were about 6.5, 7 inches behind our annual rainfall. We got almost all that on Tuesday in one fell swoop, and we need the rain, but we just don't need it all at once. I mean, we have a tendency to flood here because it's bedrock and has nowhere to go, but we'll take whatever we can get.
Outstanding. So, give everybody a little background on you. You know what you've done previously, and we'll kind of talk through how you got to where you are today, and how we got a chance to meet at Texas PTA here a couple months ago.
Okay, so kind of an atypical background when we talk about a retail product like this. But I grew up in Iowa, went to school at the University of Iowa. Always wanted to be a United States Marine, so I enlisted in the Marine Corps after my sophomore year in college. Really enjoyed it. Did 2 tours of duty in Central America at the American embassies in Honduras and Nicaragua. And unbeknownst to me at the time, I met now my wife of 30 years as she was working in the embassy. So my Marine Corps career was fortunately or unfortunately cut short, and went back to Iowa, went back to school. But at the same time, I got an opportunity within competitive telecommunications. This was back in the late 80s when competitive long distance was the rage. Got an offer to be a management trainee at a very large long distance supplier. And that started off my career in about 25 years in competitive long distance. It also brought me to San Antonio in 1991. So kind of fast forward to 2012, I was with a company here in town. Kind of the landline business was winding down, as we all know, being replaced by wireless. And I was introduced to a product called Kleenhanz, spelled with a K, Kleenhanz. And I met one of the co-founders. Really unique product because it was truly 100% alcohol-free, and it was towelette based, not a gel or a foam. Multiple container options, and it got I was curious. So about that same time, I decided to somewhat early retire from being the CEO of a publicly held company. Took a little bit of time off and did some diligence on the product. And as fate would have it, I was scheduled for a routine physical. I took a container into my doctor, and as I was waiting in the exam room, I was looking around, and sure enough, there was a container of Kleenhanz in the exam room. And when he walked in, first thing I said, before we get started, you got to tell me where you got that. And he told me that he had gotten it from the company itself and that he was very impressed with the product. So that completed my due diligence, because I told him now I'm going to get financially and operationally involved. So that's when I got involved. But Kleenhanz actually went into the school market in 2008. And one of the largest school districts in the state of Texas happens to be Northeast Independent School here in San Antonio. So through the efforts of my business partner, literally got wall-mounted dispensers in hundreds and hundreds of classrooms throughout the district, replacing anything that was already there, that being gels and foams. As a result of that, it got the attention of H-E-B, which is Texas' largest grocery store, because they're also based in San Antonio. And the product was placed into a retail environment at H-E-B. Since then, we continue to grow. The school portion of our business has really grown because now our products are available in all the major school health catalogs, school nurse supply, McGill. So now we've got schools all over the country ordering our products, various container sizes, because of the formulation and the highly effective nature of the product. Just a quick example, you can wipe your hands down, but if you have gel or foam, you can't wipe that desktop down or that keyboard down. With ours, you can, and it has a very effective result by doing so. So we have really, since 2012, just trying to expand our distribution, not only with retail, but non-retail, and that through the school systems. And I don't want to forget to say that the United States Olympics, the men's and ladies basketball teams have selected and used Kleenhanz in both the past 2 summer Olympic Games. And that's it's a pretty good feather in our cap given all the products that they could choose from. So as we sit today, our products are available online at walmart.com, Amazon. We just went into about 790 Target stores across the United States. We're in virtually every Kroger store throughout the United States, obviously H-E-B, Brookshire's, and we just continue to expand our retail and non-retail footprint. And my business partner likes to say, and I have to agree with him, 335 million people like Kleenhanz. They just don't know about it yet, because once people start using it, they typically don't go back to a competitive offering. I know that was a bit windy, but
no. So you mentioned several times gels and foams, that type of thing. So talk a little bit more specifically about Kleenhanz, and aside from the ability to use it on a desktop or a computer or whatever, what is it that really sets it apart and differentiates what you do? Not from, I guess, the product itself, but then also I would assume that there's some health reasons that make it beneficial as well.
Sure, and that's a great question. Most people, you'll see it virtually every day in any setting, little bottles of gel on purses or backpacks, and I see it all the time in restaurants. And what a lot of individuals don't really understand is gels and foams were meant for healthcare practitioners to sanitize after they wash their hands with soap and water. So a gel or a foam is not a surrogate or to replace soap and water. It's to be used afterwards. So when Kleenhanz was developed, again, my business partner, Lance Fitzsimon, they came up with an idea. It's like, we need something that will kill, clean, and remove. So in the absence of soap, water, what's the next best thing? Well, Kleenhanz, because a towel-based solution actually allows gives you the ability to clean your hands. And then as it's cleaning, it's killing those germs and sanitizing the hands in one fell swoop. But equally, if not more important, our formulation truly is 100% alcohol free. Not even in our inactive ingredients do we have alcohol. So those individuals that have dry skin or easily irritable skin, alcohol, especially this time of year, really does dry out your hands and can exacerbate any type of problems that you may have with cuts or scrapes. Kleenhanz actually moisturizes, leaves your hands soft after you use the towel. And it provides a barrier as well, where once alcohol is done evaporating, that's it. There's no more barrier.
So in my household, just because we've raised 3 kids, of course, they're long out of diapers, but the go-to has always been essentially a baby wipe.
Right.
And, let's go get some baby wipes at the store because we're going on a road trip or whatever. And my kids are now 2 in college, 1 a senior in high school, and we've still been using baby wipes. So give a little comparison there, aside from the fact that obviously baby weren't in our hands as much as cleaning a baby after changing them.
Right. Other parts. It's interesting because baby wipes are just that. They're wipes. They're non-germ killing wipes, which is a real important differentiator, meaning that they're perfect for that application. But let's say mom or dad is at a remote location. They've got the baby wipe, but they don't have access to soap and water. How are you going to wash your hands after you've now, changed a diaper? That's where Kleenhanz comes in it's an effective augmentation there, or an addition. It's interesting because when our product got placed in H-E-B, it went into the baby section, not because we're a baby wipe necessarily, but because the buyer thought it was the best wipe in the store because it served all purposes. Not only could it be used as a traditional wipe, but it had the germ killing ability as well. So there's the differentiator. And again, getting back to formulation, the safe for all uses. So, there's a lot of parents that use Kleenhanz products on infants as well as the senior community.
Well, and then the other option, which I guess really isn't an option because it's not made for hands at all, is like the Clorox wipes or that type of thing.
Right. Those are intended to be surface wipes. And,
go ahead.
No, and that's, again, one of the benefits. FDA requires us to stay away from putting that information on our label, so we don't. But Kleenhanz, once you're done wiping your hands, you can wipe surfaces down just as easily, and they are still effective in killing surface type germs. A great example is shopping cart handles. You go to a supermarket now and they provide the wipes, and many times I see moms take that wipe and rub it over the kid's face or the hands, not knowing that that's 65% alcohol and not intended to be a hand wipe. It's a surface wipe, where if you go into a supermarket with ours, you can do that with your child and still wipe that cart handle down without the adverse side effects of that formulation.
Your partner is right with what the quote or the comment you made here a few minutes ago, because I've never even thought of this stuff before, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've just assumed that the stuff's there and that's what it's meant for. I never in my wildest dreams realized that baby wipes are not killing germs. They're just cleaning a surface.
That's correct.
Cleaning the child.
Yeah.
No, I never would have imagined that.
Right. And a lot of people don't. They think that a baby wipe is the savior, and it is intended to be that wet wipe, but it doesn't provide any type of protection or germ killing. So if you pair it up with Kleenhanz, then you've got the best solution. And we've got multiple container options. That's what kind of sets us apart. And I'm going to hold this up so you can see, but this is a really popular container for schools. It comes in a pail form. It's portable, has 500 wipes in it, so it can be taken to recess. It can be taken on field trips. It can be taken to the cafeteria. It can be passed around the classroom. Then we have other traditional type sizes, like the box of 25 individually wrapped towels. That's great for backpacks. Teachers love our 70 count container, which is a more traditional type packaging option. And then we're the only one in the industry that offers a smaller 30 count hard plastic container, which is perfect for backpacks, desks, and field trips. So again, that's one of the founding principles of the company, was to give consumers the best product, but also give them the best container type options. And that's wrap it all up. And I think that's why we have the fastest growing hand hygiene product in the market today.
Now, this is just a quick aside, and you guys may not have any better solution than anybody else out there, so this isn't meant as a gotcha question at all. But do you have anything on those the plastic containers that prevents them from drying out?
Yes. So now, if you put the lid on, if you use the lids, then we've got containers that are 2-3 years old, past what is considered to be the expiration date. So the flat pack, which is traditional, like wet ones and wet naps have, those ones don't reseal as easily as our plastic containers. So you can hear that audible click when they're closed, and they'll stay moist even in your car.
It's my understanding about 1.5 years ago, if I remember reading the news or hearing the news right, that the government or the FDA came out and said something along the lines of soap, hand soap can no longer be antibacterial, or at least certain hand soaps. Just a complete aside, but I've just been curious about this since that point. Why is that? Does it have to do with our own natural immune systems and making sure that our bodies are doing some of the work, or what's the purpose behind that?
Well, it's a good question, because we always advocate washing hands with soap and water. That's the best thing you can do. Now, to your question, I think to your point, there were a few manufacturers that had suspected chemicals in that formulation, and triclosan was one of those, meaning it could cause some adverse side effects. So that's probably what you're referring to. Is if you take a regular bar of soap, no, that's the best thing you can use. But those they start doctoring up the ingredients of soap to include the triclosan, then that's where we had the problem, or the industry was having the problem. But no, plain soap and warm water is the gold standard, and always will be.
So when I ran into you and we got a chance to chat for several minutes at Texas PTA, were you guys there more for just an awareness campaign and letting the PTA moms across Texas know about your product and the value, or do you guys also do something on the school side of things, whether it be fundraising or whatever? I don't think we ever got a chance to talk about that at all.
Yeah, and that's a really good question. Certainly our primary objective was awareness, to make everyone aware that there's a better mousetrap out there, and Kleenhanz is that. Because of our container options, we could do fundraising. Instead of selling candy and candles, we have different container options. It could be, a nice fundraising option and provide preventive services. I mean, it's a good product to use in that regard. But as our awareness spreads, then our reach is expanding as well. Keep in mind that when we started off in Northeast Independent School, you're talking about thousands of students who are now parents, and those parents are now buying Kleenhanz through various retail outlets. And it's not uncommon for me to be in a golf setting, for example, and I have a golf bag that is customized to Kleenhanz. People will walk up to me and say, I use that in school and I buy it at HEB, and they won't use anything else. So we think the school approach is very prudent because, hand hygiene is great and it's necessary. And there are some schools that say we disinfect our classrooms on a periodic basis. And that's great until the kids come in. And then there's no longer any kind of sanitation because desks don't get dirty by themselves. It's those kids that are bringing it in. So we're trying to preach awareness that hand hygiene is a constant, not a sometimes thing, but a constant thing. It has to be practiced on a daily basis, if not on a more frequent basis, because of the interaction with so many students and faculty.
So do you find certain times of year where there's a bigger demand, like entering the fall and winter with cold and flu season and all that? Does there tend to be a spike in demand?
Absolutely. And cold and flu season is a constant. We all know it's kind of like taxes. It's always going to be there. And we have empirical data that Lance put together for Northeast, for example, that the attendance rate was substantially better than sister districts because Kleenhanz products were used in those classrooms. And that really has to resonate with teachers and administrators because they get paid based on attendance. So if cold and flu is going to result in, increased absenteeism, then that's decreased funding for the school. So for a very nominal investment, some cases cheaper than gels and foam, to have Kleenhanz products in the classroom, they're actually saving and maybe increasing revenues to that school or that district. So that is the prime time. But as I said earlier, you're one handshake away from norovirus, and that can be in the May or that can be in January. So just practicing good hand hygiene should be a constant activity.
So do you guys have any other products or versions that are in the works or anything in any insider baseball you want to share with the School Zone audience?
Sure.
Anyway.
We're always looking at, ways to improve the health standards of our customers and future customers. And we've got a couple of flushable wipes that we're working on right now that are also germ killing, just to be more environmentally friendly. We do have a non-germ killing heavy duty degreaser wipe that's really, really popular among mechanics and those that are the trade skills that can't wash their hands, but they need something to get, oil, dirt, and other tough soils off. That's available today. But I'd say the one that we're working on right now is the germ killing flushable body wipe that can be essentially a bath and a bag for those people that may not have access to a shower, or, we've all been stuck in airports and you just want to freshen up, but you don't want to freshen up with water. You want to, kill any germs that may be there. So that's what we're looking at. But we're a towel-based company. We're not going to ever have a gel or a foam because we're not saying that they're bad, but we just prefer that we have a better mousetrap because our towels clean and gels and foams don't. So that's kind of what we got on the horizon right now. But all of our Kleenhanz products are available today.
Guys, I've been in the business world here for 20 plus years, and most of the products that you see at your typical grocery store come from major multi-billion dollar companies like the Procter and Gambles of the world and others. So it speaks volumes in as many locations of big box retailers, et cetera, and now in schools across the country as you guys are, because that is no small feat. And you don't make that happen just with a flashy sales team. You make that happen because it's a product that people are demanding and wanting, and that fits a niche and a need that nobody else is fitting. And it's obvious, Greg, that you guys are doing that in a big way. And I know for me, I've learned a ton just in the last 30 minutes of stuff I just always assumed that I knew.
Yeah. Well,
but
appreciate the compliment. And, when we're done here, I'm going to make sure you get a nice assortment of Kleenhanz for your own use. And you too will become a fan as soon as you open the first container.
Awesome. Sweet. One of the benefits of being a podcast host.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Greg, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want to make sure that you leave the audience with before we sign off today?
Sure. I would encourage anyone that is interested more about the science and the technology of our product is just to visit our website. And it's very simple. It's Kleenhanz, KLEENHANZ.com, Kleenhanz.com. And there's a wealth of information about the science, the benefits, our distribution. There's various press releases. It's just a good data source. And then from there, they can either decide to order the products from us directly through their favorite online retailer or their brick and mortar. But I would encourage anyone interested to check out our website because there's a lot of information and data available.
Guys, you've heard it here from Mr. Greg Carter of Kleenhanz. Greg, thanks again for taking time out to join us in the school zone, and appreciate all the knowledge. Guys, go to Kleenhanz.com to get more information, and check these guys out if you have not already, not only for your school, but for your personal use. And I trust this interview will be of huge value on a lot of levels for everybody listening. So, Greg, thanks again for your time.
No, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. We'll look forward to speaking soon.
Sounds good. Hope you stay dry, even though you need the rain.
Yeah, and we'll send some up your way.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.